There's a photograph published by the Associated Press on March 22, 2026, that every government in the world with a nuclear program is studying right now. It shows Israeli security forces and rescue teams operating at the strike site in Arad, in southern Israel, after an Iranian missile landed near the town of Dimona. Not near a military base, not near a port, near Dimona, the location of Israel's nuclear research center. The facility that, according to decades of intelligence assessments, is the site where Israel's nuclear capabilities are believed to be maintained. An Iranian ballistic missile reached the vicinity of that location on March 22, 2026, injuring at least 39 people according to Al Jazeera's confirmed live tracker. Israeli officials reported that at least 180 people were wounded in the broader wave of Iranian attacks on that same day. And within hours of that strike, the U.S. president issued a public ultimatum. Iran had 48 hours to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, or the United States would obliterate Iran's electricity plants. That is the chain of events that happened on a single Sunday morning, and it changed this war in ways that the next few days will define. Let's be precise about what happened and what the sources actually say, because precision is the only responsible way to cover a development of this magnitude. The Associated Press, publishing on March 22, 2026, ran the headline, "Iran strikes near Israeli nuclear research center as U.S. president threatens attacks on Iranian power plants." The AP photograph showed Israeli security forces working at the strike site in Arad. Al Jazeera's live breaking news tracker on March 22nd confirmed that an Iranian missile hit near the town hosting Israel's nuclear facility. Al Jazeera's live updates also confirmed that Israel's health ministry reported 4,697 people injured across the country during the war by that date. Israel itself stated this was a very difficult evening following the broader Iranian missile barrage. Bloomberg's headline the same morning confirmed, "Iranian missile attacks on Israel intensify, leaving dozens hurt." The New York Times confirmed that Tehran was defiant after the U.S. president threatened power plants. The U.S. president had publicly stated he would obliterate Iran's electricity infrastructure if it did not open the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours. Fox News confirmed, U.S. president gives Iran 48-hour ultimatum to reopen Strait of Hormuz or face strikes on power plants. These facts constitute a verified evidentiary record of what occurred on March 22, 2026, day 23 of Operation Epic Fury. Now let's talk about what the Dimona proximity strike actually means strategically. Dimona is not a random city in southern Israel. It is the location of the Negev Nuclear Research Center. This facility has been at the center of global nuclear nonproliferation discussions for over 6 decades. Israel maintains a policy known as nuclear ambiguity. Al Jazeera published an opinion piece specifically titled, "Why the World Should Worry About Israel's Nuclear Doctrine." The proximity of an Iranian ballistic missile to this location sent a shock through every intelligence agency. Here is the strategic logic Iran communicated with this strike. Iran did not need to directly hit the Dimona facility to communicate its message. The message was communicated by proximity. By demonstrating that an Iranian ballistic missile could reach the vicinity, Iran sent 3 simultaneous signals. To Israel, the signal was, "Your nuclear deterrent is now within range of our missiles." To the United States, the signal was, "Your allies' most sensitive infrastructure is now a variable in this war's escalation." To the rest of the world, the signal was, "This conflict has reached a threshold that no previous Middle East confrontation has crossed." Proximity achieved all 3 signals simultaneously. This strike, on day 23 of a war that began on February 28th, according to CENTCOM, represents a turning point. The 48-hour ultimatum from the U.S. president is the direct American response to this escalation. The New York Times reported that Tehran remained defiant after the threat to obliterate power plants. Al Jazeera's live breaking news confirmed that Iran warned it would strike regional energy and water infrastructure sites. Bloomberg confirmed that Iran threatened to hit key infrastructure after the U.S. president's ultimatum. These are simultaneous public threats from both sides. The escalation ladder has not just been climbed, it has been restructured. Let's put this in a broader context. CENTCOM's official record documents the operational timeline of Operation Epic Fury from its launch on February 28, 2026. 2 carrier strike groups are deployed. B-52 Stratofortress bombers have been confirmed in active strike rotations since March 2nd. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier, transited the Suez Canal on March 5th. Arleigh Burke-class destroyers have been firing Tomahawk land attack missiles. A KC-135 refueling aircraft was lost over Iraq on March 12th, with all crew members confirmed deceased. AP reported on March 22nd that the Pentagon has requested an additional $200 billion in funding for this war. These facts describe a sustained high-intensity air campaign now in its 23rd consecutive day. And on that 23rd day, an Iranian missile reached the vicinity of Israel's nuclear research facility. Al Jazeera's live updates confirmed that Israel reported at least 180 people wounded in a single evening of Iranian attacks. Bloomberg reported that Iranian missile attacks on Israel intensified on March 22nd. AP's live coverage confirmed Iran threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz after the U.S. president's 48-hour ultimatum. Al Jazeera confirmed that Iran said the disruption in the strait was the fault of the United States and Israel. Iran's vice president stated publicly that there was no concern over energy or food supplies. Al Jazeera's breaking news ticker confirmed Iran vows to respond proportionately to any attacks on vital infrastructure. Now, let's talk about what the Strait of Hormuz ultimatum means in concrete economic terms. Bloomberg's market data on March 22nd confirmed crude oil trading at $98.23 per barrel. The New York Times confirmed that gas prices have risen more than 30% in some American states in just 2 weeks. AP confirmed that spiking gas prices tied to the Iran war are set to eat up tax refunds touted by the U.S. president. That is a direct, measurable financial consequence for ordinary American households. Bloomberg confirmed that U.S. diesel topped $5 per gallon, the highest level since December 2022. The AP reported that the Iran war halted Qatar's helium output, threatening global technology supply chains. Bloomberg confirmed that a fertilizer shock is escalating as new supply risks emerge. These numbers existed before the Dimona proximity strike and the 48-hour ultimatum. Now, the market calculation for the next phase becomes significantly more difficult to model. The U.S. president's stated threat to obliterate Iran's electricity plants would represent a fundamental shift in the target set. The air campaign confirmed by CENTCOM to date has focused on military infrastructure. Targeting civilian electricity infrastructure at national scale is categorically different. Iran has approximately 85 million people. Al Jazeera's analysis confirmed on March 22nd that the U.S. president has consistently miscalculated Iran's moves. The 48-hour ultimatum is the most direct test of that assessment yet. Iran's response pattern across 23 days tells you something important about how it is likely to respond. Iran struck Qatar's LNG infrastructure, confirmed as causing 17% capacity damage. Iran struck Bahrain, Kuwait, and UAE positions. Iran attempted a strike on Diego Garcia, the remote US-UK Indian Ocean military base. Iran struck near the Dimona nuclear research facility on March 22nd. At each stage, Iran demonstrated it could reach the targets it threatened. The Dimona proximity strike is the most ambitious single step in that escalation sequence. AP confirmed on March 22nd that India's Gulf economic ties are under strain. The New York Times reported that as war disrupts India's Gulf ties, the economy faces a new broadside. AP's photograph from March 19th of an elderly man in New Delhi tying a gas cylinder to his scooter captures this energy disruption. In Israel, 4,697 people had been injured by the war through March 22nd. 13 American soldiers had been killed, 21 people in Gulf states, 1,444 deaths in Iran. The 48-hour ultimatum and the Dimona proximity strike mean those numbers will continue to change. The U.S. president's ultimatum expires within 48 hours of its March 22nd issuance. Iran has publicly responded by warning strikes on regional energy and water infrastructure. The Strait of Hormuz remains the central physical object of this confrontation. Bloomberg confirmed on March 22nd that the Hormuz Strait closure is forcing the U.S. president and importers to seek solutions. An Al Jazeera military analyst stated that opening the strait will probably require U.S. boots on the ground. What happens in those 48 hours will determine the trajectory of de-escalation or further phase transition. AP confirmed on March 22nd that Congress is looking for the U.S. president's exit plan. The New York Times published a concurrent analysis. U.S. president is eyeing an exit from Iran. Will he take it? Bloomberg reported simultaneously that the U.S. president is pursuing Hormuz hopes. These signals suggest that the search for an exit path is running in parallel with the military escalation. The Dimona proximity strike demonstrated that Iran possesses the reach to threaten its vicinity. Every government on earth knows this. Every market is pricing it. And every ordinary person whose economic stability is connected to the Strait of Hormuz is now waiting for the answer. Share this video immediately with everyone you know. The next 48 hours will determine the trajectory of a war that has already touched the lives of billions.